Page 11 is all about a different style of asking, all about different styles of asking ratio questions, mainly to do with differences in what they give you. Rather than giving you the total amount, they might give you, for example, on this question, it's about socks. They've given us the total amount of white socks that there were in the problem rather than the total amount of socks altogether. So let's have a look at some of these questions. A drawer contains white socks and black socks only. The number of white socks to the number of black socks is in the ratio 1 to 3. There are 12 white socks. So we're used to seeing questions from the previous page where it would say in total there are however many socks. But this time they've given us just the number that are white. The only difference here is that if we use the same method, it's this bit, which is now the linking bit of information, which enables us to work out the size of one part, rather than it being the total. That's the only difference. So that's why this method's quite good. We can just adapt it to whatever we're given. Work out the number of black socks in the drawer. Well, if we know that each part is worth 12, 3 parts are going to be worth 36. And part B, work out the total number of socks in the drawer. We could either just add together 12 and 36 to get 48, or we could have used the fact that there are 4 parts altogether and 4 lots of 12 are 48. In question 2, James has some apples and oranges. The ratio of apples and oranges is 2 to 5. So apples to oranges, 2 to 5. He has 15 oranges. So this time it's not the total, which we're told it's the number of oranges. So I'm going to write down 15 underneath the number of oranges. I don't really need to add on a total column, if you like, for this question, because it asks how many apples does he have. So if 5 parts are worth 15, then that means each part must be worth 3. So doing the same to the apples means he had 6 apples. Okay. Abby, Neil and Dylan share a sum of money in the ratio 2 to 4 to 5. So Abby, Neil, Dylan, always space out your numbers here, 2 to 4 to 5. Neil receives £60. So it's not telling us what they're sharing in total, it's saying what Neil got. Okay, so what do you times 4 by to get 60? 60 divided by 4 is 15. How much money does Dylan receive? So 5 lots of 15 would be £75. Okay. Question 4. There are red and green apples in a crate. There are 60 green apples in the crate. Okay, so we're given the real life. The ratio of the number of red apples to green apples is 1 to 5. Okay, Georgia puts some more red apples into the crate and now the ratio changes. Okay, so let's figure out what each part was worth to begin with. So what do you times 5 by to get 60? 60 divided by 5 is 12. So that means there must have been 12 red apples before. Okay, so 12 red apples to begin with. The ratio then changes from to 2 to 3. Now the number of green apples has not changed. So I know there are still 60 green apples. This has changed. I need to figure out how many red apples there are. But the ratio simplifies to 2 to 3. So I'm going to draw arrows going this way and figure out what I've divided by. To turn 60 into 3, I've divided by 20. So this number got divided by 20, and the answer was 2. So if I do 2 times 20, that will tell me I've now got 40 red apples, which means if I had 12 to begin with, we must have added 28. And there we go. Olive has 600 fruit trees. Some of the trees are apple trees. The rest are pears and plums in the ratio 7 to 5. There are 175 plum trees. Work out what fraction of the trees are apple trees. Okay, so there are 175 plum trees. So the plums and pears to plums is in the ratio 7 to 5. And we're told there are 175 plum trees. So this is what we can figure out. What's 175 divided by 5? Well, 5s into 17 go 3 times with 2 remainder. 5s into 25 go 5 times, so that's 35. So how many pear trees are there? 7 lots of 35. 210 plus 35, 245. So altogether that makes 320, 420, I think. Which means if there were 600 trees to begin with, 180 must be apple trees. Okay, and final one, question 6. The ratio of right-handed people to left-handed people is 15 to 2. 12 right-handed people join the company. The ratio then changes to 9 to 1. So this is a tricky style of question, this one. Many different ways of doing it. You can turn ratio into algebra and all sorts, but I'm going to show you one way to do it. So right to left was 15 to 2. Now that doesn't mean that there are 15 right-handed people and 2 left-handed people. It might be that there were 30 right-handed people and 4 left-handed people, or whatever. The point is that the actual numbers could have been simplified to 15 to 2. 12 right-handed people join the company. So what hasn't changed is the number of left-handed people. So the new ratio is 9 to 1. But if I can make the left-handed numbers the same, because ultimately they haven't changed, then we can just look at the right-handed numbers. So it's very easy to make these left-handed ratio numbers the same. They both go into 2. So I just need to times this ratio by 2. So 18 to 2 is the same as 9 to 1, but now it's directly comparable with this bit over here, or in other words, each part is worth the same number of people. That's probably a better way to put it. Each of these parts is worth the same number of people as this part, because we know the number of left-handed people hasn't changed. So how many right-handed parts have we gained? Well, that's 3 more parts. And those 3 parts must be equal to the 12 people. So if I know 3 parts is equal to 12 people, then I know 1 part must be equal to 4 people. And therefore can go back and answer the question, how many left-handed people are in the company? Well, there are 2 parts to that, so that would be 8 people.